Red Wagon Farms, we are working on a grain bin project. We are pouring cement today. This has kind of been a pain in the butt. We did mesh wire. We have 2 foot sidewalls here. Then we have re-rod down there. I hear the cement truck coming down the road right now. That weird looking stick there is just to pull this out. That's on a bar, and that's our screet right there. And then this is our radius. And we did plywood forms, 3/8, what do we do? 3/8 inch. And then what we did is we ended up doubling up on them to take, you see, sometimes with plywood, it doesn't bend quite perfectly. So we were able to make a better curve by running the inside. Today it is January, and we are beginning our grain bin project. That was supposed to be done in September, but it took forever to get some of the parts. We have a used bin that we're going to be putting up, a bunch of these parts here, but it took forever. We got a new hardware kit, which means new bolts, new seals. We're doing new floor supports, and then I have that furnace fan over there, and it just took forever to get stuff, so we're running really late. We got the shed full of corn, and we're trying to get this done so we can get the corn out of the shed and in this. And we got about, this will hold about 10 to 11 semis, and we have about 5 to 6 semis in the shed. So I am going to try to take pictures of how we do this. This is our form, and this is poured about 2 feet thick. And in this bin is different than a lot of them. This one actually has a rim that you put in with the form. So, and then when we get the whole bin up, then what we do is we grout concrete in here right to the edge. All right, guys, it's been a few days since I did a grain bin update. So I'm going to show you where we're at. Looks small, right? When you build a grain bin, it's kind of opposite of what you think. You actually build the top first, and then you work your way down. And how we do this is we put on the first 2 rings because we wanted to get a jump start. Some guys will put on 1 ring. Then we go ahead and we put the roof together, and we get all the vents in, and we get everything that we can done ahead of time. And then what we'll do is we'll come back and we put, this one has 7 jacks on it. There'll be 7 jacks, and they attach every about probably 5 or 6 feet here on these collars here, or these butt seams. And then we just jack this whole thing up about 60 inches, put on a couple more rings. Then we move the jacks down, jack it up another 60 inches, and so on and so forth. So there's 2 rings on here now. There's 8 more that need to go on this bin. This eave height right here will be about 25 feet, and right now it's just under 6. We are in the process of doing the roof, and because there's no supports in a grain bin, how you build the roof is you take a board like this, you put it on the roof collar, or excuse me, the roof ring, the center roof ring, and then we have a jack on it, a floor jack, so that we can kind of lift it up a little bit, or if our bolts are a little bit off, and this is pretty precise. I think these are within like 1/32 of an inch. It needs to be on from the bolt holes down here to up here. We'll kind of loosen it in, and then once we get this entire thing up, then we'll torque all those bolts in really hard, and then we'll just take the jack out, and everything's self-supporting. I was hoping I could catch this when it was going up, but things just seem to happen so fast with the rings, and you're so busy. Well, happen fast in some regards. We were so busy putting bolts in and stuff and raising stuff, I didn't manage to grab the camera. But you can see the jacks here. We just took the spikes out of them because she is fully up. We're still working on it, but she's fully up. These jacks, there's 7 of them placed around the bin, and what we do is we just jack it up and we put on another ring, and then we fuse them together right here, and so on and so forth. One of the things that surprised me about doing this is we probably spent more time putting on sealant in the cracks and different things like that. You can see there's a ton of bolts here. We'll climb in here. We're still working on it, but I'll climb in and show you around, or show you where we're at. Working on the drying floor. And every one of these seams actually has a special sealant in it. You can see it squishing out here. It's kind of like a dried caulk, or it's dried, it's a little tacky. You lay it out, and it's damp in here because I didn't have the center on because I didn't feel like climbing up there in the middle of a storm to throw it on, and I didn't realize it was gonna rain. So you're seeing all these vents because this is a drying bin. So we need approximately 20 feet of air movement going out the top to keep the air actually flowing through this. And this is why, even though there's a concrete floor, we have a floor with ventilation in it here. And you can see this is all open underneath here. And way down in there, you probably can't see it, there's a huge air duct. See the light down there? That's a huge air duct that comes in from the outside. It's right over here. See the light through here. It's gonna blow all this air in. And this is basically like a big oven or dryer. It's basically how it works. So this bin is a little bit different. It has doors going up all the way every other panel, so you can access it there, and then there's a door. I don't know if you can see it right there in the roof. All right. We have the augers in now, which seemed like it took forever because we've never done one of these. So this is a center sump right there. Then these are the midline sumps. And what this does, this rod right here opens and closes. See the auger down there? The two mid sumps. And then the center sump, which is the main unload, we had to do a little bit of engineering here. We had to create, I guess you can't see that, we had to do a little pipe bending up and around, but it worked out pretty good. And then when you open, you see that pipe bends up, comes around. Well, you want to close and shut that. The bottom one. You can see the. And you keep that shut until your auger's on. All right, guys, we are finally done. Well, pretty much done. This has been a lot bigger project than I thought. Generally, the bend goes up really quickly when you're putting on the panels, but the floors, the augers, the foundation, even the electrical, it just is, just because it's the first time we've ever built one of these, it's just a learning experience, and it took a lot longer than a lot of people probably would take that have done a few. We got to put on the motor here yet. We have a new motor for this, and then we got to run some conduit around here yet, so we're just tightening up a few things. But she's actually loaded halfway with corn right now. We were going to use this big old soak up fan here that we bought from Iowa. We had it shipped up. We bought it used for a couple grand. It just, we could not get it to work. It would keep kicking off. And then we talked to Soak Up, the engineers over there, and we had made the determination that the bin was a little bit small for the fan. We thought we did the paperwork right and balanced it out, but it just didn't work out. So we ended up buying a smaller fan. We got this one's a new one. This is a GSI, and it blows quite a bit of air too, but it's designed a little bit differently, and it's better size for this bin. This is probably a temporary solution because it's a cheaper fan, but because it's not a squirrel cage like that one, it's quite a bit louder. So in a year or so, we would like to maybe update this to a little quieter fan, just for our neighbors mostly. Just because this can be pretty loud. I can turn it on here and show you what I mean. And this does, you can add a heater to this one, and it does have quite a bit of electronics on it, but it is a pretty basic setup. But we are working on, eventually we'll probably update this So we're just tightening up a few things, and we'll probably pour a slab here for when we get a new fan, and then we're going to also add a low temp heater to that one. This year, because we got beans and we're not doing any high moisture corn, and the corn we have in there is only at is mostly less than 16% already. This will get us by for 2021 here, and probably half of even 2022. I'll go up and climb in the bin with you here. All right, I'm going to try to do this holding onto the phone, so bear with me. We're going up. We're only going up halfway, so if we fall, it won't kill us at this level. At least it shouldn't. It's a little bit challenging opening the doors when you get up here. Why in the world do farmers build these big, ugly metal grain bins? And I agree. I mean, I hate the way these things look, to be honest with you. But in the fall, there is so much price gouging that takes place in agriculture between food companies and feed companies. It's almost a necessary evil to have one. We found out that the hard way. Just to give you an example, right now, the grain that's in this bin is worth about $42,000. And in December, it was worth $30,000. So by drying and storing your own grain, you can significantly affect what you are receiving for it. That's why you see so many of these folks putting up their own bins and storing and then selling when the price is better. Plus, it gives regular income to these farmers. When they don't have a bin, they get one paycheck one time. So when you sell off slowly, you get a better price, but you get a stable income coming in as well. A lot of you might think, holy cow, $40,000, that's an awesome paycheck. Well, it costs us about $72,000 in an ideal situation just to keep our farm working each year for fertilizer, seed, leases. Probably our biggest expense is not equipment, it's actually nutrients, which would be fertilizer on a farm. And that's very typical for most farms. Grain bins are kind of ugly. I mean, this one it's used. It's a little bit of rust. We have an old-fashioned tip here that's kind of a little bit different. The company asked us if we wanted to update it. I actually like the way it looks. Sometimes older things look better. So we kept it on, but as you can see, we got a great view. We do have to climb up here. You do get on top of these things whenever you load them and pull the auger up. You got to take this tip off here, take those wing nuts and put the auger up here, and then when you're done, you pull it off. So a couple times a year, everybody's up on their bins. It's just the way it is. We have a ladder up here, and there's a ladder down the side. We do have a safety harness. Of course, I'm not wearing it right now, so it doesn't do much good. But anyway, this isn't real high compared to a lot of bins. I think we're like 35 feet up in the air right now. So Red Wagon Farms, we have finally finished, or mostly finished, our winter project, the grain bin.